Good Chodesh Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmasi Mimiros Rusas Mordechai. A good Chodesh, a good year should be a Chodesh of Geula, Chodesh of Nisim. And don't forget to perhaps eat a Rosh Chodesh Suda. There's an Indian to eat something special for Rosh Chodesh. Boys, I have very good news here. Very, very good news. If you have a car and you want it clean for Pesach, there's a kid in Manchester that's willing to give a 10% discount to MDY members. Unbelievable. Here we go. Special offer, 10% off for MDY members with the MDY logo. Here. You see that? It's unbelievable. Givaldik.
The other 10 to MDY.
We have with us Reb Michael Ben Shitrit. Michael, how much did you raise?
About 8,000.
8,000 personally. And Miami and Florida as a whole, how much?
50.
Over $50,000. And counting. It's one of the top.
Yeah, top 4.
Top
3.
Top 3. Well, Ramat Bet Shemesh doesn't really count because I'm going to come out of it. Okay, whatever. Each one in their own. I think there's some issues. I have to go look because Borough Park looked a little weak, and I know Borough Park did okay. So maybe Borough Park is not counting all the people together. Thank you, Rav Eli, for changing my life as well as my family's life. Even through my toughest times, your dedication to Torah helped me to learn every day and still keep at it. Thank you, Mikol Alev, Ezra Salam. Aaron Tzvi Sinner, that's Signer. Senior. Thank you, Rav Eli. I learned for 2 years in Israel 20 years ago. Since then, I have not learned on a daily basis since I joined with Ner Tamid post October 7th, when much of our shul committed to learning Bava Kama together. I've kept up with Bava Metzia and I hope to continue learning the daily daf with you. Yasher Koach for all you do spreading Torah to and engaging Jews across the religious spectrum and non-religious as well. Venice. Anonymous. Hi, Rav Eli. I'm a 17-year-old bacher in Lakewood and started the daf at the beginning of Bava Metzia. I like this one line here. Because my yeshiva's Masechta this year is Bava Metzia, and I listen to the daf every night by night seder, and I also started doing Shnai Mikra. My shir always says, you can't learn a daf in 45 minutes. And then I'm teaching my chavrusa the Gemara that I learned with you. You can't learn a daf in 45 minutes, but then he's teaching the Olam. Thank you very much, and Be'ezus Hashem, I'll be finishing Bava Metzia. Givaldik. So, the Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. B'mheir b'yameinu. Parnas HaChodesh, Rafur Shleima Elimlech ben Tzipora. Parnas HaChodesh, Nishmas zechariah ben Moshe, Nishmas Chaya bas Yosef. Parnas HaChodesh, Ahron Fraiman, it should be zchus to rebellion for continuous siyadta dishmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Parnas HaChodesh, Yosef Ben Chaya Sara, for all the zchusim that come from supporting limud Torah. Parnas HaChodesh, Binyomin Rosenfeld for hatzlacha in business and all my endeavours, including Torah. Parnas HaYichshavua, Rafua Shleima Mordechai ben Esther, Psuras Toivus, Parnas HaYoim, Elliot Mattingly. You guys remember Elliot Mattingly? L'zeichus my son, Chaim Oren Ben Eliyahu, world's best chavrusa on his first yahrzeit. Many people from MDY, including Fischl, they went there, they menachem him. Parnas HaYoim, Kessler Family. Mazel tov and happy 80th birthday to Yosef Kessler, and on the wedding of his granddaughter Mina to Shimon Sebag. Mazel tov to the parents Liez and Shoshana Kessler. May we only see simchas from your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Parnas HaYoim, Michael and Sylvia Cooper. Linishmas David Nosson Nota Ben Alter Michal. Dr. Daniel Mandro, whose first yahrzeit is today. Parnas HaYoim, Parnas hatzlacha b'shefa, L'zivui Hogan b'korev, Beila Basleya Malka, Amen. Kalman of the 5 towns. That's right. We just heard from Bernie the Burn, Kalman of 5 towns. Stop. I heard from him. He donated to the campaign. To my son Rani Yecheskel and his Kalayal on the eve of their chasana. Mazel tov. He's still around. Kalman from the 5 towns. Yes. Huh? You gotta stay. Well, he's paying to go on the cruise. Parnas HaYoim, Yossi, Shlomi's brother Rosenberg. Shlomi Rosenberg's brother, for rafua of Dr. Abe Garfinkel of Monticello having quad bypass. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, he should have a rafua shleima. Art of the month, anonymous with his zchus, for needs of childbirth, his daughter, and a healthy baby. The art of the day. I couldn't believe this. This is one thing from the whole, there's a few interesting things I learned from this campaign. One of them is that a certain chosh of a guy from this room didn't take a page, and I yelled at him beravim yesterday. That's a different story. But the guy, he talks a lot, usually whatever. But one of the most interesting things.
I'm giving $180 to not win second page.
Oh, good. I'll take it.
These is $180 you made on this campaign.
Over 3,000.
Really? Over 3,000? Givaldik from Nachman. 5,000 behind this guy.
Okay. I'm not from far. What do you want?
Wow. You're around the world. What do you mean? You don't live in any particular place.
I live next to you. Everyone gives it to you.
Listen to this. I have no idea what I want to say.
You'll make it fun of someone who didn't take a page.
Oh, very interesting thing is that people loved sponsoring $1,000 for the coffee corner. 12, a bunch of weeks, whatever it was. Not a single person sponsored the art of the day. Not a single person. Isn't that so helpful, the art? Isn't that?
Much better than that.
I don't have. I was shocked. As much, the coffee was $1,000. The art of the day was like $180 or something. Nobody took it.
No,
interesting. I don't think Yoshi was insulted at all. I mean, he mentioned it 4 or 5 times to me.
After the coffee, we won't see the art. Can you read it?
Hey.
Then we get to read it.
Anyway.
Read what?
Sponsorship.
Oh, art of the day. They did 2 sponsorships.
They pay for both.
Interesting. Must be a typo, but we'll read it anyways. Art of the day. Here's finally art of the day by the Kessler family. Mazel tov and happy 80th birthday to Yosef Kessler. In Begvuro Yishmayim Shana. On the wedding of his granddaughter. What a beautiful thing. A birthday and a wedding. Mina to Shimon Sebag. Mazel tov to the parents, Rabbi Eliezer and Shoshana Kessler. May we only see simples from your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Amen.
Amen.
Boys, I have a question. Maybe 1 or 2 people are going to know the answer to this. Just for this, it's worth it. And if you heard this yesterday, Benny, or anybody else.
Scream it out.
A shoyel, somebody who borrows something, we know is the worst of the worst. Yichayev for almost every single thing. Gneva, Aveda, Oynes, everything. You borrow an animal, the animal dies, you have to pay the whole thing. Unless it's Meisa Machmas B'lacha. Give me an example where you borrow something and it gets stolen, you don't have to pay.
Stolen.
Because if you had intention to steal it first, but you didn't.
It's a mefurish pasuk. But did you learn the daf before? He learned Chumash. Rav David, what are you saying? No? Say it aloud. Say it aloud. I said maybe one person will know. No? Baila Vimo, says Rav David. That is, that if the owner is working for you, he's doing something for you, he's giving you a cup of water, and as he's giving you a cup of water, you say, hey, can I borrow your car? Ruvain has a Tesla, and he's also giving you a cup of water. He's giving you a cup of water, you say, hey, can I borrow your Tesla? And he gives you the key to the Tesla as he's giving you the water. You could borrow it, and you don't have to pay if it gets stolen, lost, oinus, 0. Ba'alavima, at least we learned 1 hatzlacha today. Now the Olam can go to sleep. Huh? Says the Mishnah. We're holding Daf Yomi Beis on the bottom. Hamafkid chavetz eitzel chaveroi. If a person, here we go, we have pictures. Person had his friend watch a barrel for him. What happened?
You happened.
Oh, that, yeah. Okay, that's a Yoshi shtick. I did not ask for that, but I'll tell you the truth. I didn't ask him to take it out.
You never thought you did.
Hamafkid chavetz eitzel chaveroi. Hamafkid chavetz eitzel chaveroi v'lo yichader lo yibay l'makom. There was not a specific place that he had to put the barrel. He can put it anywhere he wants. This would be yichader lo makom. You have to put it on this stage right over here. No, you can put it anywhere. You can put it here, you can put it there. What does it mean? The guy didn't pay for a spot. He said, watch my barrel. You can put it in the bathroom, you can put it in the dining room, wherever you want. And the guy moved it, and by doing so it broke. It fell out of his hand. If he moved it for his own need, in other words, what do we call that? A ganav. You're supposed to wash the barrel. You're not supposed to use the barrel for yourself. You use it for yourself. You're a ganav. So it broke. You're chayev. Litzarka. If you moved the barrel because the sun was coming in from those, look at those windows over there, it's coming in, hurting the wine. You moved it. You did it for the wine. Potter. Now, imit mishinicha nishbara. You put it back down. You're a ganav. You placed it back. Bein litzarka, potter. Once you put it back, you're no longer chayev. So here's the question. If you steal something, you steal a car, you joyride, come around, you come back from the neighborhood, you put it right back in the guy's parking spot. You potter, chayev, what's the halacha? My question is, do you have to call the guy up and say, hey, I stole your car, I put it back in the parking spot, or you can just put it back in there? The halacha is, what's that new? Rabbi Yisai? Do I have to notify the owner?
You use this car.
I stole his car, I stole this thing, I put it back. I stole candy from the candy store.
There's the wear and tear, even if you get it back.
Forget that, you're going into detail. Okay, I stole candy when I was a kid. I go to the store, I put down $5 on by the register and I walk away. You're supposed to tell. It's machlokes. We have machlokes. So the Mishnah over here says, that once you put it back down, you're potter. So what is the Mishnah telling us? That you don't have to notify him. There's no notification here. He put it back down. So we're obviously going according to this man, the Omar. His name is Rabbi Yishmael, who says you don't have to notify. Okay, now we continue. If the owner said, I want you to put the barrel on this coffee table. That's it. You can't. That's my makom. I'm paying you $10 a month to put it on this coffee table. He moved it from there and it broke. Even if he returned it, if he moved it for the good of the barrel, you're potter. But if he moved it for his own good, you're chayev. Question. We just said you don't have to notify anybody. If you steal something, you don't have to notify the owner. So why does it say over here, if he placed it back down and then it broke, chayev? Why? He returned it. Obviously, this part of the Mishnah goes according to Rebbe Akiva, who says that you must notify. And since you didn't notify, you're chayev. So we have a contradiction between the Reish and the Seif of the Mishnah. And unfortunately, there's no good way to get out of it. Says Gemara Homani, who's our Mishnah going according to? That if you steal something, you just put it back, you don't have to call up the owner and tell him what you did. Rabbi Shmali, right? I was thinking about Rabbi Nachman Seltzer and the whole book, all those things that Rabbi Yossi Wallace, he returned, he notified everybody because l'chari you have to notify. That's how we paskin. Rabbi Shmali goes according to Shmuel, the Omer loy be'inin das bailu. You don't have to notify the owner, and therefore, if you return it, you use the barrel, you return it to a certain place, potter. The Sanya going to tell him there. Here's a guy that steals a sheep from the flock of sheep. He's not a tzaddik, he's a learner. Shem Shamayim, scared the rest of the guys there. V'selam in a kiss, steals money out of a wallet. L'makom shegonav yachzer. You can just return it to the place that he stole it, take the sheep, put it back in the pen with the rest. Then Rabbi Shmuel yiyoytza, finished. Rabbi Kiva Omer Daf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, which means that we learned 40 daf on daf 40 of Bava Metzia. Sorich das bailim. You must notify the owner. It's not enough. As the Gemara Rabbi Shmuel, my area lo yichadoi. It would seem like there's a greater chiddush to say, not only if you put it back, if there's no place for this barrel, so you could dump it over here, you could dump it over there, there's no difference, you returned it. It should be a bigger chiddush that there's a specific spot that it's sort of like that's the barrel spot. Even in that case, you don't have to notify the owner. Says certainly if he has a certain spot and you returned it to that spot, So what does the owner care? You took it from there, you put it back, it's right on the spot, everything's good. Even though you didn't make a certain spot. Okay, from the ratio we go like Rabbi Shmuel, you don't need to notify the owner, regardless if he has a spot, a special spot, not a special spot, even when there's no special spot, you just put it back down, you're done, finished, it's a return. But now we have to understand how does it go together with the Sefer, because it's never good when you have a Mishnah that doesn't have any names in it. It's an anonymous Mishnah. The beginning of the Mishnah goes like Rabbi Shmuel, the end of the Mishnah goes like Rabbi Akiva. Big problem. There was a very specific spot. You have to put the barrel, the tiltal of an ishbra, and the guy moved the barrel and it broke. Whether it fell out of his hand, and this is the important to us. Regardless if it fell out of his hand, or if he placed it back down, he returned it. Here, you're chayev, even though you returned it. You returned the barrel. It says if you moved it for your own good, you wanted to use it for whatever reason, chayev, but I returned it. So what do you see? Returning is not enough. You have to make that phone call. Sorry, I have to admit, I wronged you. I touched your barrel, I moved it. But guess what? I put it back. Oh, now you're done. But if you don't make that phone call, if something happens to it, you're chayev. That cannot go like Rabbi Shmuel. A son, Rabbi Akiva. That must go like Rabbi Akiva. The Omer be'inon das ba'alim. You must notify the owner. As the Gemara, the same question, but in the reverse that we asked before. Rabbi Akiva, my iri yichadoy afilu yichadoy nami. Tells the greater chiddush. Even though there's no specific spot to put the barrel, and you just left it there, you're still chayev. Certainly in a situation where there's no specific spot, and you just put it back down, that's not considered, of course that's not considered returning. But even if there's a special coffee table that I'm supposed to put this barrel on, so I put it back on that spot, I would think I don't have to notify the owner. Being in das bailam, I must notify it. As the Gemara, the famous question, Reish Rabbi Shmuel v'Sefer Rabbi Akiva, how's it possible? Same Mishnah is telling us conflicting views in we have no choice. Yes. In fact, the Omer Rabbi Yochanan, man de mitargim lichovis aliba de chatana. If you're able to explain the Mishnah according to one Tana, mevilna mane basrei lebei mesusa. I will carry his clothing all the way to the mikvah as such. In other words, Rabbi Yochanan will be so impressed with whoever gives him the answer and explains him the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan will be mishamesh a Talmud Chacham. So Chaburza told me, I thought it was a very nice story about Rabbi Milinowitz. If you open up your art scroll, the front says Rabbi Milinowitz in every single art scroll. We checked out last night, even the Hebrews. He was a tremendous Talmud Chacham. What? Chaim Zev Milinowitz. He was the general editor of the Shas. Of all our art scroll? Or just Hebrew needs, but he's saying all. Generally. He knew everything. And he was a tremendous onav. And he went with a short jacket, down hat. And he'd take the bus every day. You could see him catching the bus here and he would just sit there, he'd carry his thing. So Rabbi Didya asked him if he could carry his, he saw he had a lot of svarim, like, could I carry bags? He said no. So he thought to himself that maybe he's saying it because he didn't want to be a Talmud Chacham. He didn't want I'm a shamish Talmud Chacham. I'm not a Talmud Chacham, I'm a regular guy. So he said, but could I maybe help you as a friend that's a little elderly and struggling? He says, oh yeah, that you could. And he gave him he let him use it. He says, don't be mishamish me. So I'm going to be mishamish at Talmud Chacham. I'm going to bring your clothing to the Beis HaMerchantz. So now the Gemara says like this. By the way, there's a big mazel tov. I want to pause here for a second because I think it's a big chizuk. It was tremendous. One of the most emotional stories for me. And I said the story many times. I might have said it just a few days ago, but I have a little bit of a twist to the story. Makes it more emotional. There's a big mazel tov in MDY today, which I saved for now because a lot of people skip the emails. So now, if you don't skip the emails, I got you. So mazel tov to Rabbi Yisrael Gordon. His son got engaged to the daughter of Reb Moshe Wilner from Chicago. Who's Rabbi Yisrael Gordon? Yisrael Gordon is the guy that was on Zoom 4 years ago, and it said Chop on the bottom. And people asked him for 3 months, what's Chop? One day, we see his face, and there's a younger man-looking guy. He says he's from Lakewood. He's in Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. What's going on? His kid, Yerachmiel, has brain cancer. Oy vey. The whole MDY went into action. People they set him up with computers because he couldn't communicate with his family. He was stuck there during COVID. They got him a computer with internet and this at home. One of the kids wanted a kayak, a 12-year-old, so they delivered a kayak to his house. Remember the lime 20-foot kayak, whatever it was, a green kayak. Anyway, maybe that's the boy that just got engaged. Who knows? Kayak guy. The kids he's like 12, so no, they make him 16, 17, no. Make a long story short, can't make it short. They sent him gifts, this, chizuk, the whole thing, and one day we got the terrible news that his son, Yerachmiel, was nifter. I announced it here, I couldn't control, they cried, people went to be Menachem Avel. And one of the big stories, I just mentioned Shlomi Klein yesterday, Shlomi Klein drove from Crown Heights, 2 hours, he thought he's going to go in and out. He says, you don't know me. Yisrael says, I do know you. Your name is Shlomi Klein. I know you from Zoom. And we realized that Zoom is more than, it's not just, watching a shir. It's more of a mishpach. And he said, it was Menachem. Yisrael wrote me an email afterwards that it gave him a tremendous nechama, that a Lubavitcher came. It was Menachem, a Litvak, and that he knew everything about him. And Kitzer, 2 hours. A short while later, we had a siyum in the 5 towns on Masechtas Pesachim. And during the siyum, Rabbi Yisrael showed up, and he comes over to me, and he gives me this. Says, I want to give this to you. What is this? Says somebody from MDY sent him this, and this is the pillowcase that his son Yerachmiel slept on and learned hundreds of hours of Gemara with him. And he was nifter on this pillow, and I'm bawling. And he says, and I want you to use this by your Seder. It was very, very powerful, and I did. There's even a piece of matzah over here you could see. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring this here today because the engagement, it's almost Pesach, and this means a lot to me. All right, what? I definitely will. Okay. Tirgumor Rabbi Yaakov, Bar Abba Kamei de Rav. Tirgumor Rabbi Yaakov, Bar Abba Kamei de Rav. So, the two Tanoim try to make sense of the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan said he struggled. Perhaps you could say it goes according to one man, the Amar, or go according to Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says that you don't have to notify, after you steal, you don't have to notify the owner. Tirgumor Rabbi Yaakov Bar Abba Kamei de Rav, he said in front of his Rebbe, Rav, Shenotlo, Almanas, maybe these are Meroim, Shenotlo, Almanas legozlo. Tirgumor Rabbi Nosson Bar Abba Kamei de Rav, Shenotlo, Almanas l'shloch b'yad. They're basically saying the same thing, but slightly different. One says that he took it. Basically, this is what Dr. Factor almost said before on a different thing. Like he took it on he wanted to steal it. He was thinking about stealing it. And over here, saying another Amor says he didn't want to steal it, he wanted to be Shleiach Yad. Now, we're going to learn a new musik today, something called Shlichus Yad. Shlichus Yad, maybe we did mention, I'm sure we did, but let's talk about it for a second. Shlichus Yad is to steal something that's in your possession, you're watching it. What's the difference between stealing and Shlichus Yad? Stealing, if you decide to drink 1 cup out of that barrel, you're thirsty, you have a guest, you want to entertain him, 1 cup. So you wanted to steal 1 cup, so you're responsible for 1 cup worth of wine. Shlichus Yad is different. Since you're watching this barrel, and you decide to steal 1 cup, you become responsible on the entire barrel. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Van. We sat next to each other on the plane. Yishkoyach. You were very nice to me. You didn't bother me. I thought there's going to be schmoozing, this, that, nothing. Garnished. Let me alone.
You didn't recognize you.
He was happy you left him alone.
I would think that, but he sent me a picture of me on the plane.
Want to make you feel good.
Was there any learning going on the plane? No, don't tell that. I was schluffing the whole time. Tirgumor Rabbi Yaakov Bar Abba Kamei de Rav, Tirgumor Rabbi Nosson Bar Abba Kamei de Rav, Shenot Almanas l'shloch b'yad. So b'Michael Mifligi, what's the difference? Shlichus yad, gzela, b'shlichus yad tzricha chesaron. To be included in this shlichus yad here. Let's just see this pasuk for a second. So it says there's two psukim. We're going to talk about one right now. We'll talk about the other soon. Shuas Hashem tiyeh ben shneim. This is the second pasuk. What's the yud? Imloi shalach yadai. The Torah says shlichus yad. You moved it. What happens if you did use it? You shalach yad. So the pasuk right before says, "B'chol behem lishma umeis." Look at the end of the pasuk. Umeis or nishbar or nishba ein roya. You're swearing that you didn't do, but the bottom line is you're chayav even for a oinus. If you did shlichus yad, you're chayav even for a mistake. So what's the difference? Do you need to drink some of the wine? Or perhaps shlichus yad is just moving it? Yeah? Do I have to use some of it or not? Man, gozla. It's just a technical thing. Rabbi says it's the same idea. The man says we're talking about gezel because and he has to actually drink from it. He didn't. We're not at the pshat yet. We're just getting there. We're trying to build this up a little bit. So the bottom line is the guy wanted to steal it. The guy wanted to do shlichus yad. Slightly different. Shlichus yad and gezel within the same idea. The guy wanted to use it. How much is he chayiv? Does he have to use it? Not use it? That's machlokes. We'll see a little bit more of it later. Before even we get to the pshat, we have to deal with this question. Maskevler of Sheshes. Midi not loktani. Does it say anywhere that he took? Tilta loktani. He didn't take anything. He didn't take any wine. It says he moved the wine. He moved the barrel. Elomer of Sheshes. You're right. He didn't take wine. What did he do? He used it as a ladder. Here we have a picture. He has a bunch of birds on the top shelf. So he used the barrel as a ladder. What is that called? Another musug. Because if you use something without any permission, you are a ganav. You used a guy's barrel. Yes, you didn't ruin it. Nothing. But you're not supposed. What?
I'm calling him a gazlan.
Not what? He did it. Yeah, that's the thing. He's asking. It's like he's scared of people. Not scared of people. Okay, technical. I just thought it was very interesting because my wife showed me something. She says, "You're not going to believe what's going on in America. Like this is like the worst." So, a woman. You know, in America, you have the Tesla chargers or whatever, the electric chargers in front of your house. You know, so a woman goes and she pulls up to some random house and she plugs in. So the guy comes out with his phone and he says, "Excuse me," and she says, "What do you think you're doing, taking a video of me?" He says, "Excuse you, you're on my property." She says, "I don't care. It's just going to be 20 minutes. Get out of my face." She starts, like, he's the mechutzav, like, he's a Russia for taking a video of her. I'm going to call the cops on you. She starts threatening him. And this is real. This is like these, whatever they're called. What are they called? The Karens,
Karens.
No, they deserve it. They, entitled. What do you mean? I'm just using some of your electric. Like, there's no musik of gneva. You know what I'm saying? You have to know the halachas. You have to be aware that just to take somebody's barrel, and you think to yourself, what is the big deal? Am I allowed to take my friend's ladder? He's my neighbor. We like each other. I'm going to take it from here to here, climb up a few steps. No. That's different than taking electric. Electric, you have to be mamisha. You're literally taking. It's not as expensive as fuel, but it's expensive. But over here, we're talking about taking a barrel from somebody else. And it's in my house. I'm doing you a favor. I'm watching it. You hear what's going on here? I'm watching your barrel. So what's the big deal? I took it and I moved it over here. I need to climb on. Ganav. Shol shalom das gazlan. We got to get into our head. Says the Gemara, V'kula Rabbi Shmueli, and this is going to go according to Rabbi Shmuel. The whole Mishnah Rabbi say is Rabbi Shmuel. What does Rabbi Shmuel say? I steal something, don't have to notify anybody. So then the question is, if the whole thing is Rabbi Shmuel, so why in the Sefer you chayav? The answer is because the Sefer says that the barrel belongs on the coffee table. and he didn't return it to the coffee table. Had he returned it to the coffee table, even though he used it as a ladder, it would be fine. Why? Because I don't have to notify. The problem is he did not return it to the coffee table. Rabbi Shmuel is going to hold, in that case, if the barrel explodes, you're chayiv. That's the Rabbi Yochanan, he doesn't like this. Rabbi Yochanan says, if you could explain to me the Mishnah, I will carry you close to the mikvah, to the Beis HaMerchatz, not the mikvah, Beis HaMerchatz. You clock in, clock out. One of these places, you sit there for hours. Rabbi Yochanan, hinicha b'mkoima mashma. So Rabbi Yochanan says, no. It seems like from the Mishnah, he did return it to the coffee table. It says hinicha. Hinicha means that it went back to the place. Okay. So that's why he doesn't like this pshat. Doesn't fit in well to the Mishnah. He's not taking anybody's close to the Beis HaMerchatz. Itmar. Rav Levi chadom shlichus yad tzrichus sar. V'chadom shlichus yad and tzrichus sar. I even saw a thing, but I'm not going to say it. But I didn't like it so much. It could be true, could be not true. If you believe in it, great. But there was like a Rebbe who said a good pshat in this thing. And he was all excited that finally Rabbi Yochanan would have to bring his clothes. And then he walked outside and he saw an old man. He said, I'm Rabbi Yochanan. That's not the pshat. The whole Arichas Dvar. Ayin Sham. Again, Itma. Rav and Levi, we have a machlokes between two Amoraim. Rav and Levi. Rav Tanu Polik. Fine. Rav is a little bit of a Tanu. In order to be over on this idea called shlichus yad, when you're a shomer and you use something, what if you use it as a ladder? Are you over on shlichus yad? You didn't take away from the barrel anything, zero. Is that considered shlichus yad? This time the Rabu, dama shlichus yad in its shlichus. Maybe I can prove to you that it's Rav says that you don't have to make it go down in value. And if I know that Rav said that, then what? Levi's going to say the opposite. This is on Yeroy Edroy. You have a shepherd. He decided he left all the animals by themselves and he ran to the bathroom in the city. Whatever he did, he's allowed to, says Rashi, there's certain hours of the day you're allowed to do that. And a wolf came and killed an animal. Rashi just goes in to say a zev is different than a lion. It carries its prey back to the den. Ubari vidoras. I love this cartoon, so I'll show it to you. This was by Avruchi Ari Ba'almuhus. He says, Kishta chatul gadol. Kishta is like, get it. No, how do you say it in English? Scram. Big lion, and you see that he's drooling already, this lion. Kishta. Huh? Why? Oh, that. Oh, do you want to see this picture I took of a leopard? Okay. Says the Gemara, Potter. He's Potter. He had a right to leave. You let to take a little break in the middle of the day. You don't have to stay out there all day. Potter. However, check this out. You put your knapsack and your staff on top of the sheep. Chayav. And we ask, why? Why is he chayav? You took it off. If the stick is still on top of the animal, now you're chayav. What happened? You didn't do a kinyan. In order for you to be over in shlichus yad or whatever, you have to pull it. There's other ways to do it. He did one of these. He tapped it with a stick. By you causing the animal to move forward, that's your kinyan. The Ritva says over here, somebody asked me last night, I looked it up, the Ritva says, you have to have intent to be kohen. Okay, so you had intent to be kohen. Over here, I just want to insert this joke. I didn't say it in a while, got to say it. This guy wanted to impress his kala, he just got married the other day. He says, I want to show you my horse, my wagon, the whole thing. So they get on the horse and wagon, and 2 minutes in, the horse stops. The guy gets very frustrated. He says, go! That's 1. You didn't go. Go! That's 2. No, garnish. 3 times, he pulls out his gun, shoots. So the cow starts screaming, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, that's 1. And then they say that I'm a male chauvinist. I wonder why. Okay, you know what? Sorry, the kala was driving the wagon, and she told the horse, that's a much better. All right, fine. What, you guys didn't hear this joke in the last 2 months? That's Okay.
Last time you said it, you interrupted by someone.
Yeah.
The third time is the better.
Oh, you just change it around. All the jokes are going to be female to the male. Okay, fine. Fair the Gemara by the wide lines. But nothing happened. You put a bag on top of the animal. Nothing happened. So what do you see from here? You had no right to put your bag and your stick on top of the animal. That's called shlichus yad. Even though there was no chesar, you didn't. The value of the sheep was $100 before you put it on. Now it's $100. You see from here, and you don't need to take away from the value. It says Gemara, no, check out this beautiful picture. He gave it a good whack. And when you give a good whack, it actually lowers the value of the animal. Shekisha, not a kisha. Hekisha, you took down from the value. Why in the world would we use such a strong language of hakot, like a makel and a stick? Hekisha, whatever. No, to tell you that it was damaging to the animal. And derech agav, and a very far derech agav, this is also a big yisoid in life. A lot of people didn't know this, and I'm assuming today also. There's something called tzrirus dam. I actually went as a child to Renisa. I'm not going to go into that story, to Renisa with this question. Tzrirus dam means if you see on a chicken, like a black and blue, like a red dot, a red lump, you're not allowed to eat it. Why? Because you can't kosher it with salt. You see the salt wasn't able to take out the blood. If you do see, sometimes you see something like that. It's called something that the animal got a big bang from like something, whatever, when it's alive, then you're not supposed to eat it, it's tzrirus dam. I said just alive, I don't know if that's, what?
Black and blue mark.
So you're not allowed to eat that area. You got to cut that out. Tzrirus dam. Anyway, says the Gemara when the Rav saw, and from the fact that Rav says that you have to use it and drink the wine, zechus, you did it with a stick. So Levi says that you don't need to lower the value. So I just want to point out, there's a Rashi here. Rashi says that there's two things. There's something called shlichus yad, and there's something called shoyel shaloi midas. Okay? Both of them, if you move this barrel, you move this animal, you can be over either for shlichus yad, you can be over for shoyel shaloi midas. So what's the raya here, says Rashi, that for one way or another, shlichus yad has a chesar or not? Maybe we're talking about that he's just a shoyel shaloi midas. There's another way to be chayiv, called shoyel shaloi midas. What's the proof? If somebody's chayiv here, what's the proof that the shlichus yad has chesar or not chesar, and maybe it has to do with shoyel shaloi midas? So Rashi says, 4 lines from the bottom. He says the yisoid, anything alive that becomes worth less because you use it, it automatically becomes a shlichus yad. There is no shoyel shaloi midas in that case. It would be an immediate problem of shlichus yad, not shoyel shaloi midas. Says the Gemara, my time at the Levi. Now we have to understand what's the logic in Levi. Why does Levi say that in order to be, you could be over on shlichus yad even without minimizing, without taking away from the animal? Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of his Rebbe, why are there, Rabbi Yisai, check this out, there's 2 psukim. By Shem Esachar it says, those 6 words are repeated identically by Shem Echinam. Why does the Torah have to mention it twice? Says the Gemara, because in fact you don't. And because it says it by 1, I have a completely extra pasuk. That what? One is not similar to the other. Shem Esachar is completely not necessary. Daf Yomi Amud Beis. I argue on my Rebbe. Rashi says he's his Rebbe. I say they're both necessary. Why don't I need this pasuk? The simplest kal v'chomer in the world. Just say the idea by shomer chinam. What's more chomer, Abaysa? If we just think about it, who pays more often than the other? Shomer chinam, shomer sachar. Shomer sachar, guy, a paid guard always pays for gneva v'aveda. He's more severe. So, say it once, say it by a shoy mechinam, say the halacha that if a shoy mechinam has to pay for shlichus yad, certainly a guy that has to pay for gneva aveda, shoy mechinam never pays for stolen items, but a shoy mesacha does pay for something stolen, so of course he has to pay for shlichus yad. And it goes as follows. If you're watching it for free, and somebody comes in the middle of the night and steals the sheep, you don't have to pay. However, if you decide to use it and use the barrel, you be chayiv. So the Torah should have just said in that case, who is chayiv was stolen in the middle of the night or got lost, they called shkein. So certainly he should be chayiv if he decided on his own to use the barrel of wine. So why did the Torah say it twice? To teach us, and this whole pasuk coming to say says, Levi, my hatzlacha. Shlichus yad doesn't need to diminish the product. Oh my gosh. Okay, 4 minutes. Kinnovation does see another Mary uncle, Rebbe Chaim Oren and as zchus v'akiva Simcha ben Fega. Official mitzvah motivators in honor of Dr. and Mrs. Robert Lehman for sponsoring Gemaras for Kehilas Ner Tamid of Baltimore. Gewurzman brothers, for the yards of their grandfathers, Hachaver, Moshe, this is a brand new one. The Gewurzman brothers were very, very generous over the years and very big part of this year. For yards of our grandfathers, Hachaver, Moshe ben Yerachmiel Shalom, an original real Yeki, and a Rav Eliezer Moshe ben Rabbi Shmaya Zetzal. Shmaya. Shama? I don't know. Maybe we have to fix that word. I think it's Shmaya. Okay. Says the Gemara. Vani Oimer. Eino Meshuna says Rabbi Yochanan. No, I need both psukim. I argue on my Rebbe. So if I ask you who's Rabbi Yochanan's Rebbe, so you say, I remember in Amafki, the first Rashi and Mem Aleph Amud Beis says that Rabbi Yosef Ben Chaya was Rabbi Yochanan's Rebbe. Eino Meshuna. Kirbel Lazar. Do Omar. Do Achasi. Both of these psukim again. Let's look at these psukim again. There's one pasuk B'Shem Esach that says the idea of shlichus yad. One pasuk B'Shem Echinam says Rabbi Yochanan, I need both of them. Why? Rabbi Lazar says I need both. My dovada achas. What does that mean? I could say a very simple thing. You guys remember from Baba Kama, if I'm watching it for free and I lie, I like your Lamborghini, I'm watching your Lamborghini and say, oh, I got stolen. And I swear that it was stolen, that's a case where a shomer chinam has to pay kefil. Is there ever a case where Rabbi said that a shomer socher pays kefil? Never. Why? Because what's the shomer socher going to say? It got stolen? Poof! You have to pay on the spot. He can never get out of gneva. He can never come to a situation where he has to pay kefil. Check out this beautiful picture. It's very accurate in a way. Here you have a guy from Buddha Park. He says, the cow, it got stolen. And here's the cow peeking out of the door. That's Toyin Tainas Ganov. So, but Toyin Tainas Ganov, Umandeloi Parach. No, but he's saying, great. You're telling me that Shomer Socher is more Chomer than a Shomer Chinam. Why? Shomer Socher always pays for Gneva Aveda. I, Rabbi Yochanan, say, no, a Shomer Chinam is more Chomer. I have a situation where Shomer Chinam has to pay Kefil and a Shomer Socher doesn't have to pay Kefil. So it's not a good Kavachomer. The opposite, Shomer Chinam is more Chomer. Umandeloi Parach Sovar, Kanabeloi Shvua, Adifim Mekfele B'Shvua. The person who doesn't say that, once in a while you have a situation where Shomer Chinam pays kefil, but every case in the world the Shomer Socher is more chomer. It's a bird in the hand. Right now you have to pay on every situation where it's stolen. The Shomer Socher pays kefil, or pays for the object. The Shomer Chinam doesn't. So Shomer Socher is more chomer than Shomer Chinam. Yes, there is a funny case where a guy says that Shomer Chinam says it was stolen and it wasn't stolen, and he swears that's a case where he has to pay kefil. No, it's 1 out of 100 compared to the regular stolen animal from a Shomer Socher. Rava says, you know what? These two psukim, let's go back. The two psukim, Shomer Socher and Shomer Chinam, not necessary. Why? Rava says, I can learn them both from a shayl. What's the worst shomer in the world? The worst shomer in the world is a shayl. He has to pay for everything. So if I see that a shayl has to pay for shlichus yad, let's see in a second. I'll learn from shayl. That's bailam kovid. A shayl is able to use the car with permission from the owner, and all the hana is his. He could do everything with it. He's the guy. He's the, like, so to speak, the owner now. Sholach b'yod chayav, and yet, as soon as it becomes his, he's chayav on everything. He's chayav on ha'oines. It's not really sholach yad. It's not really gneva. Chazon Ish asks, it's not gneva. But okay, nevertheless, you see that he's chayav. Shemechinam, Shemesachar, like Kolchkin. So certainly Shemechinam, who doesn't have reshus to use it, Shemesachar doesn't have reshus to use it. Certainly, if he uses it, they should be chayav, just like a shayel. Why do you need 2 psukim? Says Rava Chada Leimer Lach Shlichus Yad Ein Shricha Chasar. One pasuk comes to say that a Shlichus Yad, I don't, like Levi, I don't need to make it worth less. V'idach Shaloi Toimar Dayo Lovim and Adin Lius Kenidarn. Very, very simple, Rabbi Yisai. Don't get confused there. I'm serious. These are from the simplest things. Yisai in Shas Dayo Lovim and Adin Lius Kenidarn. When you do a Kal V'chomer, the thing that you're learning cannot be stronger than you think you learned it from, right? It's logic. I'm learning A from B. So I can't say, oh, and now A should be double as powerful as B. It's just, if you're learning A from B, so it's whatever B has. Okay. We're not going to say that. Now here comes this halacha that we mentioned all the way in the beginning of this year. I would think that. So it goes like this. There's a musig in Shas called Ba'alav Imai, and it's actually a pasuk that says, "Im Ba'alav Imai lo yishalem, im sachu babas chare." If you're about to lend your friend a car, do yourself a favor and don't fall for the trap when he says, as he's borrowing the car, "Could I have a cup of water?" Because if you do that and he bashes up your car, he doesn't have to pay anything. Why? Gzeres hakasa. It says, "Im Ba'alav Imai." If he's working for you, and then you borrow something from him, you're potter. You don't have to pay. Why? I don't know. That's what Hashem said. So I would think that halacha also applies to a shomer chinam and a shomer sachar. That's why I need a second pasuk of shlichus siyadta to tell me it does not apply. That's a special halacha by shayel. I would think you're potter. There's pasuk that you're chay. Well, the man Omar now. So again, why do I need 2 psukim? One pasuk tells me that shlichus siyad doesn't need a chesar. You don't have to drink the wine to be over. But what about the man that says that you do need? We said, according to Rav, you do need to drink the wine. So what is he going to do with that extra pasuk? Well, the man shlichus siyad tzir chesar, not entirely shlichus siyad lamali. What do I do with the second one? So first one, Chodesh leitoy v'dalav and adin liz kinina. We just said. Ve'idach likidasanya. The nigger of Bava Metzia Elohim. The owner goes to the dayanim, the judges. So typically you go to a judge. What do you go to a judge for? For din Torah? No, l'shvua. This is the swear. If you look at the psukim, you don't have to look at the psukim, but the pasuk by shomer sachar is pasuk yud. The pasuk by shomer chinam is pasuk zayin. So lamata would be shomer sachar. It says the idea shlichus yad by shomer sachar lamata, but never shlichus yad lamala. Malal and l'shvua afkan l'shvua. So just like by shomer chinam, shomer sachar. He makes himself potter. He could say there was a mistake. There's a oinus. How does he become potter if he swears? So to a shomer chinam, how does he? When he says ganav, it got stolen. Either tainas ganav or to actually get out of gneva aveda, he must swear. How do I know this? From the sex for pasuk. Rabbi Isaac, good Chodesh, great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Hashem, bright and early at 7:10.